Good morning, students. Here we are dealing with the poem Heaven If You Are Not Here on Earth by our national poet Kuempu. So yesterday we have discussed a lot about the poem, the author, the different concepts towards understanding this poem later when we deal with the actual text here. And we also have discussed about the questions that were asked in the pre-reading activity. So here we need to focus on the concepts like say heaven, okay, like God, okay, then we have nymphs here. Yes. See, we have to what sort of understanding that we have with these concepts in our practice as well as belief. So that's what our poet is. Our poet wanted to educate us in understanding about these concepts here. So, the concepts he introduces in this poem are heaven. What do you think about heaven? Or if you just remember or say, think about heaven, what are the things that might be flashed in your mind? So, opinion about about heaven here, and the God and the nymphs. So, we have a very superior kind of understanding these things here. See, because heaven, gods, they are the symbols of divinity as we have discussed yesterday, and nymphs, symbol of beauty here. Yes, and the heaven, tells us about the beauty of all life as such. So, here you have learned and studied, discussed a lot about the poet Kuempu. Yes, we have discussed on the translator of this poem, C. Nagarna, Dr. C. Nagarna here. And we have discussed about the introduction part of the poem, that is pre-reading activity as such. So now, keeping these things in mind, let us see what are the things that we are going to given in the poem Heaven If You Are Not Here on Earth. See, emotionally, quite seriously, the poet here it reflects as if he is speaking to heaven. It reflects as if he is speaking to the people to concentrate towards him. heaven if you are not here on earth? Yes. So now let us get into the book here, the poem. See, here the structure of this poem by Shakespeare is a couplet followed by 3 quatrains here. Yes, the structure that we find, okay, form of the poem is a couplet, okay, a couplet. This is of 2 lines, isn't it? And next one is 4 lines, that is a quatrain of 4 lines. And next stanza is of another 4 lines, that is one more quatrain we have here. And then the last quatrain we have here is another quatrain. So it looks as if we have a form and structure of William Shakespeare. But here in Shakespeare, couplet will come to the end here. Shakespeare's in sonnets. But here in what Kuempu's form of writing the poem, or this particular poem of Kuempu has this form here. So he introduces a couplet of 2 lines at the beginning, and it deals with the main theme or the concept that he takes up in his poem. And then he has introduced 3 quatrains of 4 lines in this poem here. So this is what the structure or the form of the poem that we see in this poem. So now then coming to the couplet, that is the beginning of the poem here. Heaven, if you are not here on earth, where else could you be? So this is a couplet here, and we have a headline or the topic of the poem here, title of the poem in the first line itself, and he questions and he exclaims himself by asking, heaven, if you are not here on earth, where else could you be? Where? If you take one as earth, yes, and the other one we have is universe, yes, where you will see this heaven then? If it is not there in these 2 places, on these 2 places, that is earth or heaven here, yes, where else could he be? Where else the heaven can lie here? Is there a separate, is it a separate entity here? Did the scientists have not discovered where heaven is in universe or earth, or scientists failed to discover heaven? No, nowhere. See, we have a proof, we have researchers The man has conducted so many studies against all these things and still he is finding out, still his researches, his studies, his practical work on everything on universe, earth is continuous. It is continuously going on. It is never stoppable. Till today, no scientist, no discoverer or inventor who have seen there is a separate space, there is a separate entity called heaven here. Okay? We have so many planets in our universe. We have so many landscapes on earth. Isn't it? It is also a planet in universe. Earth also is a planet in universe. Then where else could you be? Where else we can see heaven in universe or on earth or on the sky? In the sky, what we visualize. So we dream, we imagine, we write stories or tell stories to kids, or in order to entertain ourselves, we create a kind of heaven on earth. The imaginary heaven we create here is. So, my dear students, it is a wonder he expresses here is. He feels really it is a surprising matter to believe that heaven lies on earth or somewhere in the universe. No, it's not at all there. So, it is just a belief. It is just a blind belief or a superstitious belief or a dream or imaginary world. What? The heaven here. So there is no separate entity like heaven in any of or in any on earth or in the space or universe here. So that is clear. Then coming to the first quatrain here. First quatrain here is, if we ourselves cannot be gods, if we ourselves cannot be gods, then there can be no gods. If we ourselves aren't heavenly nymphs, the nymphs are not elsewhere. I'll read out all these three quatrains here. Just listen and follow the punctuational marks that he uses here, because he becomes very emotional in describing the thing called heaven here. Okay, and he wanted to make us clear that there is no separate entity like heaven. If we ourselves cannot be gods, then there can be no gods. If we ourselves aren't heavenly nymphs, the nymphs are not elsewhere. While this roaring stream rushes fast, rolling surf at the edge of waves, the tender sunshine leans on verdant gardens, and then the gentle sun makes this earth heaven. See the nature. In the last stanza, in the splendor of harvest and of moonlight, heaven lies all over, imbibing and spilling the song of nectar, the way it does create heaven on earth. See, a beautiful poem, a very simple poem. But it takes a lot of time for us to think about the central or the main idea that Kuempu focused here. Or Kuempu wanted to teach us about what exactly is the heaven. Dear students, if you come and if you choose or the topic like God, nymphs, whom we call it is a divine qualities. If a person or a thing has a divine qualities in it, and he will be considered as a god then. If the nymphs, the angels, what we call Apsare, Yaru, Deva Kanne Yaru. So they are the symbols of beauty here. If we don't enjoy the life beauty of things that we come across in life, so then what is there in believing that nymphs are there? Where are they then? So coming to the poem line by line and stanza by stanza here. See, here we are really very much familiar with the topic called heaven here. And as we are familiar with this topic or concept, it drags us out of the text here, the actual text here. We can draw or write so many definitions of our own to this concept here, but no, we are not entertained by such general definitions or explanations here. We want your explanations or definitions according to the theme of the unit prescribed to you. So we want the textual concepts to be explained in your answers according to the question here. Read the question properly, understand it, and see where or what part of your text, on what part of your text the question goes on. Then, so we want the textual answers here. We don't want you people to give your own definitions or explanations since you are familiar with this. So that is why we want your textual answers here. See, the poet urges, comes out with a existentiality or the belief that he believed in practicality here or reality here, telling if we ourselves cannot be gods, then there can be no gods. Yes, according to Kuempu, man or humans can become gods. How? By embracing, by inculcating, by having the divine qualities in him, the human. If he has a divine qualities, there are so many. Kindness, honesty, truth, justice. Okay, firm heart, everything. So they are, gods. They are divine. A person, if he has divine qualities, if he loves everything on earth, what is created by the nature, so he is going to become a God here. That's how Jesus Christ became God of Christians. That's how Rama became God. Okay? And that's how Allah became God. And that's how Buddha became God here. And that's how Guru Nanak became God here. So all these are human beings. All these are humans, and today we pray them as gods in different places. So dear students, imagine these things, isn't it? It is not far away from us. It is not too difficult for us to analyze things here. See, it's based on existentiality, where if you touch, if you smell, if you taste, then if you experience the taste of it, then you believe things here. So that is why believe in reality, believing in existentialism or existentiality is what Kuempu believes here. Kuempu wants us to be here. He don't want man to live in his own imaginary world, in his own dream world. So, or believe the blind beliefs or superstitious beliefs here. He wanted us to come out of that imaginary world where we are superstitious or blind to the reality of the existentiality, and believe in what you see, believe in what you taste, believe in what you touch, and believe in the reality. We may say so many things about a thing or a person. You can describe, you can beautify, explain with so many examples. A poet describes the beauty of nature, glorifies the nature in so many imaginations with his imaginations. That doesn't mean that really they exist on earth. To make sure that his passion or attraction towards things, he uses technicals or instruments like description, analyze, assessment. They just opine things. They are just opinions, not the existence. So that is why, as the Guru Nanak became God today, Rama, Krishna became God today, Jesus, Allah became God today, Buddha became God today, where we all preach and pray today that they are gods. It is proved already what we are following the things, isn't it? But still we have in our mind, somewhere we go and believe such things, that it is different from this reality. So that is why he rightly says that if we ourselves cannot be gods, then there can be no gods at all. Yes, if man cannot become God, then think that we don't have anywhere on this earth or in universe a God here. So man, if you want to become a God, be sure that you have all the divine qualities here. Otherwise, there can be no God, he says. Then, if we ourselves aren't heavenly nymphs, the nymphs are not elsewhere. Okay, listen. We have a completely different notion when it comes to heavenly nymphs. Yes. We dream, imagine so many things whenever we are introduced this thing in our debates, discussions, or to us. As soon as we see, we listen or talk about heavenly nymphs, so many dreams, imaginations come in front of us that they are somewhere in the sky, and that they were somewhere in the heaven dancing and entertaining the divine things there. Yes, we believe these things. We believe that there is a separate entity called heaven, and it is the place where all the gods and goddesses live. And these heavenly nymphs are the characters or the angels of beauty, well versed in dance, all sorts of dance, to entertain those divine things are in heaven. That's what our belief today, which is superstitious, which is unrealistic. So that is why, so human beings can become heavenly nymphs, he says. What did he say? If we ourselves aren't heavenly nymphs, the nymphs are not elsewhere. It is not Ramba, Urvasi, Menake. The heavenly nymphs are the angels of beauty. We have so many people on earth today, they became, the world beauty, universal beautiful things as such. Isn't it? So that is why there are so many beauty contests takes place today to decide who is more beautiful, to decide who has angelic beauty, to decide who is a heavenly nymph. Aren't they? For example, you have Aishwarya Rai, Sushmita Sen, Diana, so many people who are famous for the beauty here. So, if at all there are heavenly nymphs, that is nothing but they are human beings. So that is why he says, otherwise they are nowhere on earth or universe or whatever you imagine that heaven and hell as such. See, at last we have hell here. Contradictory when you take heaven and hell, which is the symbol of bad, isn't it? And the heaven is symbol of the good here. So we find always bad things in hell and good things in heaven. That is what our belief, isn't it? This we are following and understanding and understood and practice it as a existentialism, the real truth. But whereas it is not. Whereas it is not. So that is why before we think about these things, we should think scientifically here. So that is why, my dear students, this is where in the first stanza of the poem, our national poet, the first recipient of first Gnanapith to Kannada literature, has coined or written or comes out very strongly in the first paragraph of the poem that we ourselves can become God and we ourselves can become heavenly nymphs. It is nobody, none other than the human beings can become gods or heavenly nymphs here. So this is the truth. This is the fact as Kuvempu says here. Did you clear? Okay, I think you have understood here, because why I have given you so many examples here. because we become victims of so-called the blind beliefs and practices, so-called the superstitious beliefs. Since we have no tools of education those days, in the ancient days, people go on educating themselves by their speeches, their songs, their actions as such. So such actions through their speeches, they come from mouth to mouth, ear to ear, and it is believed. As they come a long way from ancient period to till today, since it has a long history, a time, a period, people started believing as they get civilized and educated. Yes, of course, maybe that is truth. So they started blindly believing those old things. That's what is today's understanding of heaven, hell, God, nymphs as such. So that is why I want all of you to come out with a fact, come out with a scientific truth, come out and see whether it is there in existentialism. So you should, experiment. You should conduct the practical, activity on the things that you are going to, finalize or believe finally. So that is why, yes, students, so Kuvempu says that, see, because our people are suffering, are facing difficulties, sorrows, just because of their superstitious beliefs today, their blind beliefs today. The poor are the victims to these sorrows, these kind of sorrows, by believing these things which are not real in life, which are not factual in their life. So that is what he wanted to educate the people in giving us the information or the note on the reality of the concepts or the things that we are going to believe on today as such. So then, did anybody understood this? Yes, understand? See, don't get confused here. It's very simple. And don't think that being a national poet, what we call him as a Rashtra Kavi in Kannada, and the first recipient of Gnanpith to Kannada literature or language, and Padma Bhushan, he got a title or award of Padma Vibhushana by our central government, think that he is educating of people with something like false information as such. No, it is reality, it is existentiality, it is the truth he wanted to convey to his people here. He wanted the people, his people, to come out of these enclosed understandings and practices here. So he wanted us to know the truth here. So that's what the poet wished here. So that's why, my dear students, so all that he tackles in the first stanza are these things here. So remember and make a note of it. Classwork, I told you that maintain a classwork, because see, these things we may not be explaining when we are dealing with the revisions. No. So such a deep depth of explanation you may not find in revisions, because we have a time here and we have prepared here and we are coming from the beginning of the text or the unit that is prescribed to you. with the introduction to the title as well as the about the author here. So that is why everything which is related to the poem or the lesson will be explained or given examples, more number of examples while we deal the first time to you, while we teach first time to you. Okay, so that is why this is the form of the poem or the structure, very simple. And I don't think you will find difficult descriptions of language as such. Nowhere you have such wordings in the poem and the concepts which can disturb your understanding here. It's straightforward and it is quite clear to you because it is a translated work. Because it is translated from our Kannada language to English by both of the writers are Kannadigas here. So I don't think we will have confusions here or any kind of wrong interpretations of what the poet exactly tells or explains in this poem. Okay, moving on to the next stanza here. So in the next stanza of the poem, he takes up the beauty of nature. He takes some natural things on earth and in the universe, where you can beautify the real world, that we see today in and around is a heaven. So how can you see, make or prepare a heaven on earth? So that is what the poet here wanted to make out here. That is what the poet urges here, to be quiet and calm and observe the beauty of the nature. When you really grasp the beauty or the scenery or the climate of our nature, in every season, it's keep on its glamour and the beauty of nature here, he says. So, our poet Kuvempu takes such examples and he glorifies the nature, beautifies it and describes how nature can bring heavenly things, can give us a heavenly feeling, emotions to mankind here. So, while this roaring stream rushes fast, rolling surf at the edge of waves, the tender sunshine leans on verdant gardens, and then the gentle sun make this earth as heaven. See, where is heaven? The heaven is with us. We are in the heaven itself. We are in the heaven where you have all the facilities created to you. All the raw materials are given to you. And it's you have to make all these raw materials. You should transmute them, change them according to your taste, according to your desire, according to your aim. If you don't, if you just believe in your own imagination, or if you believe them blindly or with a superstitious interpretations, I don't think you can create or experience the heavenliness in your life. Yes, so that is why it says, if you have that quietness with you, calmness with you, while this roaring stream rushes fast, think that the roaring stream, if you see into, for example, falls, our Joke Falls, okay, then Niagara Falls, or if you go to the nearby Chikmagaluru, Kemmanagundi, so there you have a small falls, Hobby Falls, and there are so many falls around us, KRS, whatever. So if you observe the rushing speed of the water from a higher elevation to lower elevation, and you here experience a beautiful scenery or a color of the running water when it moves faster towards down, and the color and the sound of this rushing water creates creates a kind of heavenliness on earth. When this stream rushes faster, and the rolling surf at the edge of waves, the surf, when the stream rushes, the water rushes from higher elevation to lower elevation. With that speed or fast, the stream with its water effects creates a kind of surf, and it becomes like a surf, rolling surf, when it moves and moves, and it comes and settles on the edge of the waves there, and it looks as if white or snowballs as such. And imagine when the sun rays, the tender sun rays falls on this white surf, rolling surf, what will be the scenery then? Because the tender sunshine has not only one color, that is bright white color, it will be a mixture of yellowish, red, brown, orange, all the combination of these colors. What we call as Vibgyan. Isn't it? So that is what we find when the reflection of these colorful rays of sun on from the rolling surf on the edges, it looks as if it is a heavenliness. And still, what sort of heaven you expect in reality? You experience physically these things. You are not exaggerating or visualizing or imagining yourself, closing your eyes, yes, think that this is that, this. No. You are experiencing it. Isn't it? So this is a reality. It is a fact happening in front of you, where you see, where you react to such a change takes place due to the natural phenomenon as such. So that is why nature itself is a heaven for us. Isn't it? Nature itself is a heaven here. Why? Nature gives everything to humans here today. If there is a nature, you can see the survivability of human beings, all living things. If we don't have that, I don't think there is an existence of any living or non-living things here. So that's what we believe and we practice in reality, in existentiality about the heaven, and which is nothing but nature here. It is the beauty. Heaven is the beautiful world which has been created by the nature here. Created by every season and the climate, weather, everything here. And it's up to you in experiencing it, okay, in practicing it, or believing it that it is a heavenliness. So, I will continue in the next class, dear students. Okay, thank you one and all.